Part 2, picking up where we left off. Almost done with this pre-lesson. So the big clue, tangent is 15 over 8. Tangent of what? Theta. What's theta? It's my reference angle. So everything hangs on this. So remember, this has to be my opposite. This is my adjacent. And this is my, I don't know what that is. This is my hypotenuse. So this is telling me side 15 is my opposite. You can see that's not to scale. 8 is my adjacent, and then this is why families are helpful. We don't need to use Pythagorean theorem as a family. 8, 15, 17. Like, okay, we got all our sides. And if you have all your sides, you can find all your trig functions. Remember, so it's telling us opposite over hypotenuse. Remember, that's your reference angle, so the opposite is 15, hypotenuse is 17. If I flip that, I get 17 fifteenths. Cosine is ca, so ca, C-A-H. What's the adjacent side? 8. Hypotenuse, 17. Flip it. And there you have the rest of your trig functions. One more thing I got to show you, I think. So we're finally to a problem which might feel a little bit more like a real life application problem. Now my son works for Consumers Energy. He had to take a trig class very similar to this. So you can see these power poles, that they have to climb. You see them climbing all the time. There's a lot of cables from those power lines, and they have to determine how much wire to use. So they're using this quite frequently, and there's other lines of work that do. But having said that, what if I had to find the height of that pole? And I needed the wire to be exactly at an angle of 36 degrees with the ground. How high is the pole? So take a look. This is my reference angle. If that's true, that makes this the opposite side. And we know this is the hypotenuse just because it is. It's the longest side in a right triangle, and it's also the side opposite the 90. So I look at my 3 trig memory tools, SOHCAHTOA. This is talking about sine, cosine, tangent. And I have to ask myself, which one should I use? Well, notice x represents my opposite side, and I see that this doesn't even involve the opposite side, so I'm going to kick that one to the curb. And this has the opposite and the hypotenuse. Tangent uses opposite and adjacent, and you see the adjacent side is useless for this because we don't know what it is, which is saying use sine. So you're going to take that angle, instead of going sine of some random angle, you're going to be more specific and say 36, and now you're going to follow the opposite over the hypotenuse program. So we're going to go opposite x over hypotenuse 12. Now here comes a big moment. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you got to grab your calculator. Hopefully you have sine, cosine, tangent on it. And on this calculator, I got to go sine first, then type in 36. Make sure you're on degree mode. Okay, so go to mode, and you'll see like third thing down, it'll be blinking either radians or degrees. Make sure you're in degrees. You guys with other calculators, they don't have a mode button for you. Look for the DRG button. Hit that, and right across the top of your screen, you'll see it rotate from DRG, which is degrees, that's what you want, to RAD, radians, don't want that, to GRAD, maybe, which is gradians, you don't want that. We're talking about degrees. And so you take sine of 36 degrees and hit enter. And that spits out a number. The number is 0.587. We're going to take that number, substitute it in there, and now we have a basic algebra problem where we need to solve for x multiplied by 12. Then we got to multiply that side by 12. And this is where your calculator's handy. Answer times 12 is 7, I think, my eyes. Hey, here's my glasses. 7.05. 7.05. And remember, this cannot be bigger than this because your hypotenuse needs to be the longest side. So that's good. Now let's tackle this next one. A little different. Here's my reference angle. Well, that means this is my opposite side. I don't know what it is. So that's not going to do me any good. This is my hypotenuse. And because this is opposite and that's hypotenuse, by process of elimination, that must be my adjacent side. And then I think to myself, okay, so toa, which trig function uses my adjacent and my hypotenuse? It's right here. So I'm going to take that, and I now know to use cosine. So cosine of 64 degrees equals the adjacent on the top, hypotenuse on the bottom, and now I got to use my calculator to figure out what that is. So here we go. Cosine of 64, 0.438. So 0.438 equals x over 12. Multiply by 12, multiply by 12, and let's see what we get. Times 12. 5.26. So x is approximately 5.26. So there it is, 5.26. That's how you use trigonometry. That's it, guys. If this is throwing you for a little loop, make sure to spend a little time watching my next video, the example problem.